What's going on, guys, and welcome back to another video. So today I've made some buys and sells on my trading 212 portfolio. So in today's video I want to discuss what these buys and sells were and my reasoning behind them. Just before we jump into all of that, can I please ask, as always, if you're new around here, to consider subscribing to the channel, as we're just 17 subscribers away from our next goal of 650. And with all that being said, let's dive right on to trading 212. So the first big adjustment was me selling my ARK Invest ETF. Now there's been many reasons for this. Firstly is because I'm waiting to find a broker that I can actually buy and sell the ARK ETFs as a whole. So what I've done, I have put some capital aside. So when I find a broker that I can do this with, and again if you have any suggestions, please comment below and I can be sure to look into these brokers. But I'm going to wait until I actually can buy the full ETFs automatically without having to manually do it week in and week out. And the second main reason why I sold ARK ETF is because, as I stated already, I have some capital on the side outside of the Trading 212 account that I have ready to pump into these ETFs automatically on another brokerage. And the second reason that I wanted to discuss why is because I found a lot of opportunities to dollar cost average, as there's about 6 to 7 of my 30 companies in the red. So I thought that €1,090 was definitely more useful in those companies. So next we're going to discuss what adjustments I have made. So firstly, as I stated, we had €1,091 to invest, and the first 6 companies were dollar cost averaging, where they were all in the red. So what I did was I pumped in the money on screen here, you can see for each of the 6 companies, and that helped improve their overall average cost, bringing it down, effectively give me a better overall profit when the companies go back into the green. As you go on with an ETF, and especially when you want to dollar cost average in your portfolio, over time you will kind of find after a few weeks or even months that there isn't a lot of opportunity to dollar cost average if some of your positions have went up, let's say 20, 30, 40 or even 50%. So there is times where you actually have to buy more if you only have a very small position and it's well in the green. So you can see on screen now that we have the 5 or 6 positions here that I put more money into, even though they were all in the green. For example, the global iShares Clean Energy ETF, we only had about €20 invested at the time, which was nothing. So I put another €80 or so into that. Even though we were up about 33% in that position, the position was very small. So again, in all of the companies on screen, we definitely had to put more money in, as I feel, for example, in ETFs, that they'll mostly go up in value over the long term. So there won't be much opportunity to dollar cost average in companies like that. So after investing further into the 11 of those companies, we came up with a value of about €590. Again, this left us with about €500 left. So I wanted to put €200 each into 2 of my favorite companies that I believe have extreme potential and they are very safe in my own opinion. And they are McDonald's and Coca-Cola. So we put 200 each into those. And again, we can see on screen there now that P&G and MasterCard also got €50 each, which combines to my overall capital of €1,091. Next, let's look on my Trading 212 portfolio to see what effect this has had. On screen at the moment, we can see we have €6,457 invested. The dip here was mainly due to the sell-off of my ARK Invest and then putting it back into my dollar cost averaging and the other companies that I talked about in today's video. So that equates to about 5,718 GBP, and then for my American viewers, that's about $7,850. So just looking through each of my pies now quickly, Walt Disney was one of the companies we invested in, albeit only about 11 or 12 euro, but now we're up 31%. In consumer discretionary, we put about €300 or so into McDonald's, which was about 1.5 or 2% in the red, so it's good to see it back in the green now at 0.33% in the green. And again, we have about €550 invested into this one. We also put small bit of capital into Nike. It's still down 0.5%, but again, it was down about 1.5 or 2% at market open today. Consumer staples, Coca-Cola was another one of the bigger companies we invested in today. We now have €430 invested, and we're pretty much break even at the moment. Again, Coca-Cola was down about 1.5% when investing at the start. We put about a further €300 or so into this company. We also put money into P&G. Again, it is still down in the red. It's down about 1.7% at the moment, but it was down about 3.5% earlier today as well. The energy sector was the first sector where we had an example of me buying more of a company that was already in the green. For example, iShares Global Clean Energy, we only had about 20 euro invested and we're about 30 odd percent. And albeit we put in a further 80 euro or so, and now we're up 5.75%. Again, it kind of seems a bit strange investing in a company and the overall profit going down in terms of percentage, but you got to think the long term. And if you believe a company is going to go further up, even if it's in the green currently, you need to buy more if that's what you think. So we have 101 euro now invested in the iShares Global Clean Energy ETF. In terms of my two main ETFs, the Vanguard SP500 and FTSE 100, we put 50 euro into each of those as well, and we're about 12.5% overall. In the financials, Visa and MasterCard were both in the red at the start of the day, and my other three positions, JP Morgan Chase, Bank of America and Goldman Sachs, were all up between 26 and 40%, so I'm quite happy with the three of those. We put a further capital of about 50 to 60 euro into MasterCard and Visa each, and it's kind of good to see them both back in the green once again. As all my holdings in both the healthcare, we have Johnson Johnson, AbbVie and Pfizer, and industrials, 3M, Caterpillar and Waste Management. There is no need to invest further in any of these positions as they're all in the green, and the companies that were in the green that I further invested in, I believe they had more potential than these. In the material sector, we currently have no holdings. Real estate, again, we didn't touch. It's up 2%, but as we only have about 50 or so invested in this company at the moment, the second this goes into the red, I'll certainly be pumping in a lot more capital as I want to start upping the overall amount in this real estate sector pie. My technology pie, which is currently still my largest sector pie, is currently up 16%. All 5 positions are now in the green. IBM was the company we invested into today. We put a further 50 euro in, which now sees it up 0.5%. At time of recording, when I was actually doing this investing, it was down about 1.5%, so that's about a 2% swing, which I'm quite happy with. And finally, my utility sector pie, we have no companies in that sector pie as of yet. So although there was a lot of movement today in terms of my overall portfolio, the overall monetary value is still sitting at 6,450 euro. So I will be adding in more capital as the week goes by. Maybe the end of this week, the start of next week, we'll put in a further 1 to 200 euro at the very least. Because again, we haven't actually updated the overall capital. We just kind of moved some funds around. So we got rid of the ARK Invest ETF as I discussed, and we bought into each of those other companies even more. So as we are about 6.5% towards my overall goal of having 100,000 euro invested into the stock market, by the end of February, I want to have at the very least 7,000 euro invested in the market, which will give us 7% of the way there. And by the midterm of this year, so maybe June of this year, I want to have at the very least 10,000 euro invested in the market, which again will bring me up to about 10% of our overall goal of having the 100,000 euro. And finally, again, just before I go, I am currently in the process of buying a lighting system to help improve the visual quality of the videos, and I'm also looking into buying a camera as well. And also, I'm planning on setting up a mini style office in my house at the moment. So where we are right now is where I actually work my normal job. In behind this computer here, we have all my laptops and screens and monitors for all of my work related activity. So it'd be nice to kind of have a separate area for my YouTube videos and kind of have maybe something interesting in the background of the videos as well, which will definitely add to the overall video quality going forward. So that kind of brings the end to today's video. I just wanted to give a brief update on my overall buys and sells today, as there was quite a lot of activity. If you found this video anyway helpful or entertaining, it'd be brilliant if you consider subscribing to the channel if you're new around here. And again, liking the video would really help me out. If you have any questions, comments or queries, please comment below and I'll be sure to get back to you as quick as I can. Thanks very much guys, and I will see y'all in tomorrow's video.